Welcome back to the Tucson Tasty Show. I'm your host, Wesley Sorce. The following segment features a discussion of ideas presented by the author. These views are solely those of the guest and not the reflection of the views, options, or editorial position of the Tucson Tasty Show. Its producers or its host, Wesley Sorce. This segment is presented for information and discussion purposes only. We have in studio JT Ingram, and
yeah, correct.
Yeah, and he is the author of Bark More, Wag Less, and we'll just bring you in. How you doing?
Thank you, Wesley.
Let's
Good to be here.
try to get in a little bit closer.
Yes.
Sorry.
As you know, I live in Ajo, so I'm not here very much at all.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's like my third time in Tucson ever.
Well, there's a few more people than in Ajo, I think.
Definitely, yeah. We're only about 2,000 people, especially in the last 40 years when the mine closed and Ajo was very impoverished. And so it's really hard to really do anything. So it's been great to be in town and get connected with you guys and get some buzz about what I'm doing. And I just really appreciate it.
No, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate it for sure. And we had an opportunity to talk about Savor. Did you get to go over to Savor? Did you hear about Savor?
Let me know.
Savor is a yearly event that happens. The next one's actually going to be Devour, and Devour is happening up in Phoenix, and it is a food event, and it features a ton of local vendors or restaurateurs, chefs, which is just awesome. And it's really fun to go see all those local flavors and really get to see what they're doing in the community.
Yay! Cool.
But you can check that out at artarizona.com or .org, and that's the old SACA website. So if you put in SAA, there's no more room on that, SAACA, SACA.org, you'll be good as well. All right. So, let's jump into it. Jay, tell me, your book challenges one of the most deeply held beliefs in our culture. That's people largely end up where they deserve to be. Why do you take that idea on so directly in your book?
Well, I actually discovered this on accident. And so I use the example of the guy who discovered that there was toxic amounts of lead in the air. Mm-hmm. And he did something about it. And it took years and years, and he had to battle big oil companies. So you probably never heard of a guy named Dr. Claire Patterson. He was mostly attributed as finding out the age of the Earth.
Okay.
4.55 billion years, in case those of you don't want to Google that. Did
he check for? Did he count the rings?
He was looking at zircons, and he was in a laboratory, and there were too many things that were contaminating lead in his findings. So he had to create a clean room, and it still wasn't good enough. Where's all this lead coming from? Where is it? It was leaded gasoline. And so just imagine if we had another 60 years of lead gasoline, or 50 maybe, there would be a lot of global lead-related issues. He very well could have saved the world. And so that was an accidental discovery he had. So my purpose was basically just to restore my creative career after I got sick. I got on disability, and I started recovering. And then I found out what happened. I'm doing everything right. I mean, one, business development thing after another. I was doing everything right. And what's causing this chronic failure? And it just so happened I was watching some documentaries and stuff about zoology, paleoanthropology, sociology. And
okay.
I call it my interdisciplinary study for nearly a decade of what happened to me. And what happened was something that was a mix of traits. One of those is that I'm not a born leader type.
Okay.
And I was surrounded around born leader types that was kind of like, you have a, litter of puppies. You have the alpha, the runt, and everybody in between. And I was more like the runt. And so if I had something to contribute, basically society kept demoting me no matter what, especially if I was delivering. And I was at the top of my class when I was studying music. Now, I could never get a 4-year degree, but I did take a professional music program. And then that was confirmed that I had some really unusual abilities, and that made things really messy. So instead of like, hey, let's give this guy publicity, let's give this guy attention, let's help this guy with a career, it's like, no, this guy's a freak. No, that's like, people shouldn't be doing that, and especially somebody like you, because you have no friends, you have, no social skills and stuff like that, and you just don't have the vibe, you don't have what it takes. And so a lot of people think this is an instinct. Like, I just feel good about this guy, oh, we're hiring this young lady. I don't know she just has what it takes. They think it's an intuition. And there's so much science around everything from smelling, stress hormones and pheromones and all that kind of stuff. These are unconscious things that have been proven in scientific blind studies. And those are things you don't hear about. And I thought, holy shit, I'm a product of not only a sick society, and I'm quoting Dr. Daniel Everett, who's a linguist and one of my sources. I'm also a victim of my biology. And this goes beyond race and gender, ethnicity, and even economic class, and if you believe in such a thing, caste, C-A-S-T.
Yep.
But this is what I call attention caste. That has to do with the attention economy, not necessarily money.
Absolutely.
Because money doesn't talk if nobody listens to you.
Right. No,
so I have all these myths that I've...
that's fair.
Yeah, and if we have time, and I'd love to do this again, too, if I'm back in town anytime soon, is ask me about the imposter phenomenon. I mean, there's just...
The imposter syndrome?
That syndrome phenomenon, those are interchangeable, because once I realized that attention was biological and that power and leadership had a lot of biological traits, in addition to, waiting for someone to advocate for you and empower you, and if that doesn't happen, what do you do? Fair. And I had to redefine all of these things that people, and I had to create some of my own sort of cult leader terms as well. Like perceived privilege is one of those terms that I coined myself. Like a cult leader, they got, things that they...
Fair enough. So many viewers are going to hear this and think, this sounds like a way to explain away failure instead of taking responsibility. So, how do you respond to that type of criticism, though?
Well, that's because I was doing everything right. I was taking responsibility. That's the explanation. If somebody's not taking responsibility, and power comes naturally to them, it's crazy some of the stuff they can get away with. You were talking the other day about you have an alternate explanation for me based on my experience with hyper influencers who do nothing but selfies. And that's something that I explain in my book as well, that being internet famous 20-something years ago is different today. And who's programming the algorithms and what kind of people is it favoring? As totally, because you remember internet famous could be some total run-to-the-pack loser. And he
like Justin Bieber, right?
He's an alpha. Sorry to say that, but no.
With his YouTube channel, I mean,
he's an alpha.
And then, all right, fair.
They recognize talent scouts are looking for young people that have these 3 traits. Are you ready? They're an alpha. However, they're willing to submit to authority. So they can draw. It's a pyramid scam kind of a concept, too.
Fair enough.
Yes. And they're also, I forget the third one, so ask me again. Okay, so they can submit to authority, and and then they might have some talent as well. So talent scouts, it's funny that I forgot that one. A talent scout these days has little to nothing to do with talent. They're looking at your social scoring.
Sure.
And you know what social scoring is, especially a mysterious Instagram kaboom that you had here in recent years. Like, how'd that happen?
I did. Well, we're gonna wrap up for this segment. We're gonna go on a short break, and then we're gonna come back. We're gonna ask more questions about this book and how it deals with biology and how that relates. I'm Wesley Sorce, and this is the Tucson Tasty Show. Welcome back to the Tucson Tasty Show. I'm your host, Wesley Sorce, and we are here in studio right now talking with JT Ingram, and you are the author of the book, Bark More, Wag Less. Opening up this part of the show, I've got to ask, are you a writer? Like, did you write books prior to this? And if so, like, how can people find them?
Yes and no. I've actually written a handful of books over the years, and I just never got any help, never got any support. And that was before there were good tools, because I had to rely on proofreaders and editors, and they always wanted to change my books, and I just gave up. I mean, it was just like, these were book people, and I was not a book person. And the other thing, too, is that the whole thing about being a writer is this is me elevating myself to a career that's considered highbrow, high society, academic, and stuff like that. And for a guy who barely finished high school, and I was basically illiterate, and with cognitive disabilities, learning disabilities, ADHD, dyslexia, it's torture for me to read a whole book. It's been over 10 years that I've actually gotten through one entire book. So I decided that would be a fun gimmick. I'm the guy that writes more books than he reads. And so I'm writing some new ones, and I'm working on some older ones. And so that's the long version of...
Well, can you hold your book up to the camera here?
This is not my book. This copy belongs to Enrique, who's here in our studio. He just ordered it this week and sent me a selfie with it. I'm just like, yay, that's so cool. And because I want to get a Spanish version, so I've been looking into how to do that and get the version in Espanol.
Very cool.
So I'm so glad, because, I mean, like, the Latin community is also really suffering from status stuff. When I go to Mexico, it's definitely, those are the people that are seen. Those are the people that are ignored. And it's way more apparent. Here, we like to hide it. In the United States, we like our rainbow flags, and we like to pretend that, we give everybody equal this and equal that. But in some countries, it's just blatant. No, we ignore those people entirely. So I can't wait for the Spanish version to come out. Oh my gosh. And disability access. There's not a lot of books where the audiobook comes first. I released the audiobook first. And all of us involved in it.
Who was the voice actor?
I was the main narrator, and I hired a local guy who's my age.
All right.
Who suffers from severe cognitive and learning disabilities and stuff. And so we stumble over this thing. We had to edit it like crazy, but it's 15 hours. I did the original music with my group Dialectic Flowers, and it's available right now for free on YouTube. So catch it before I take it down and start charging money.
What's the YouTube handle?
And so...
what's the YouTube handle?
Sunday Driver LLC. That's my company. You can look that up, or Jason T. Ingram on YouTube. And that's... I've had that channel almost 20 years. And Bark More, Wag Less, Understanding or Rethinking Chronic Failure. That's the subtitle, and it's actually on there as a course. So it's kind of cool though, how YouTube, you can upload a course now, like a college course, and then it'll help kind of coach you through that in some ways. And, like, okay, you're almost finished, and you've done this lesson, and now you got to do this. It's kind of cool. So I was like, yay.
So at Sunday Driver?
I'll have to show you that here in a little bit. So anyways, come back to that, because it's probably better to go to my website, which is sundaydriverproductions.com. And the book is sundaydriverproductions.com/bark, BARK. Because sort of like the book, Bark More, Wag Less.
Beautiful.
But you don't have to put in the whole title that way, so it's pretty fun that way.
Get that up on the screen for everybody.
It's kind of a play on words. There are doggy treats that are named, Wag More, Bark Less. And there was a bumper sticker that was real popular. And that's fine. I mean, if you're somebody who's abusing your power regularly, then yeah, you need to bark less and wag more. But people that are stuck in professional obscurity, they're being ignored, especially they're being ignored for healthcare reasons. Sometimes barking more and wagging less and stopping all the people pleasing and asserting yourself, that could be a life or death thing if you need care and you're not getting care. So this is not just about success in creative careers or other careers. It's about empowering your life, and it could save lives too. I told you that story about that guy Ludwig Boltzmann. I don't think you looked him up. I mean, who's heard of Ludwig Boltzmann? He's the guy who wrote the paper over 100 years ago on atomic theory.
Okay.
So something called Brownian motion. I'm just a self-taught science geek. But anyways, you take a certain kind of pollen, you put it in water, and it starts dancing around. And in the 1800s, they're like, we don't know what this is. So a guy figured it out, and he wrote a paper, and then Einstein elaborated on that, and he proved him correct, but never bothered to tell Boltzmann. Boltzmann ended his life as a result of being ignored by everybody in the science community. So this is a life or death issue with a lot of people. A lot of men get into self-harm. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was a little something I'm calling Beyond Homeless Veterans. I love all the stuff we're doing for homeless veterans. It's just that...
a lot of resources.
Yes, and that's great. Chapter 5, the second half of Chapter 5 in my book, talks about something called recognized male trauma. And so, yes, hats off to our heroes in the armed forces, and thank you for your service as well. For those who don't know, Wesley, veteran.
Thank you.
Love veterans. And so that's where we start. Let's start with veterans. That's a recognized thing, because, men who are traumatized, at home or at school, well, you're a man, just man up and, fight back. And, and that's not always the case. And so that's where we're moving forward in dealing with men with trauma and making it more accessible and not hyper-focusing on demographics that don't apply. I see some nodding here. Go ahead, dude. I appreciate that. And the guy that wrote the foreword to my book is also a survivor, and he's right here, survivor of homelessness like I was. And neither of us are veterans, but we're both middle-aged white males who have suffered health problems and cognitive problems as a result of being demoted to the bottom of society, whether we've committed a crime or not.
Sure. So, I mean, for someone already struggling, is there a risk that these ideas could feel discouraging rather than empowering?
Well, up until where it says the end, here, chapter 15 is game-changing, and then it says the end. I call this a demotivational book. The whole thing is depressing. It's basically saying there's no way out. I mean, you were born a loser, basically. Like those tattoos. And there's science to say that people are born losers, and you have to change your biology. That takes a lot of magic and prayers and intervention and luck.
Yep.
And so that's why I decided to take a bastardized, secularized faith approach, whether you believe in a higher power or not. And I did an extra 20 or so thousand words almost of going into different practices and trying to secularize them as much as possible that have worked for me.
Fair enough. So here's kind of a pointy question for you, and it's again, it's all just a discussion. And if we accept even part of your argument, what responsibilities still belong to the individuals?
Well, there's two individuals we're talking about. Do you know somebody who's stuck in creative obscurity? And chances are we do, and we don't realize it. We don't know that, or they stop talking about it. There was a guy who had hundreds of thousands of pages of manuscripts that he worked on for 60 years, and they discovered it after he passed away in an apartment in Chicago. And they thought, well, you didn't tell anybody. Well, there's probably a reason why he didn't tell anybody. One, he was neurodiverse on the spectrum probably, and I would imagine as a kid they probably ignored him. They thought, I'm just going to keep this whole thing a secret. Hundreds of illustrations too. It's a fascinating thing.
Absolutely.
And that's also mentioned towards the beginning of my book as well. So those people needed to take responsibility for a gifted artist and illustrator and give him the credit that he was due for a lifetime of contributions to society that went overlooked in his entire lifetime. Those people needed to take responsibility. Did he take responsibility? He did the best he can, I'm sure, just like a lot of others. Mm-hmm. And so success gurus, every time I've ever heard those stories, and every time I've ever heard anybody talk about my failures, I was blamed for everything. It was always, well, you need to think this way, you need to act like powerful people. It's like, when an underdog acts like an alpha dog, they get bit. They get bit by the alphas, and they get bit by the enablers in order for the system to work.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we have about 2 minutes left here, and I really want to ask, what would you want readers and viewers to question about your own ideas?
To question, can you give an example?
Like just in your book, what can people question about your ideas and to challenge and change
definitely.
minds? We have to question,
They
right?
would question the fact that I use a lot of 4-letter words in my book, and that would turn off a lot of people. So it's not G-rated, and
Fair.
it's blasphemous.
Some of the best books out there are not G-rated.
Yeah, these are crimes against society. So as far as being questionable, I'm a heretic and a blasphemer. I'm damn proud of it. Oops, that's a 4-letter word. I'm sorry.
We can edit it out in post.
No, that was the 3-letter version. No, that was the 3-letter version. I'm referring to the thing that holds water back.
All right.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay.
We got to put the disclaimer on the video now, but that's okay for everybody at home. He's talking about the Hoover Dam in northern Arizona, straddling the Colorado River.
That's darn right.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, I really appreciate the rhetoric and the conversation, and definitely go check out this book, and that's SundayDriverProductions.com, and you can go right on there and check it out. And for everybody that is at home, you can see right there that's the front of the book, and you can check it out on YouTube as well if you want to listen to the book. I listened to the book. I read the book.
Good.
I had to prepare for the interview, right? And I definitely am not a strong reader, but now I have it memorized, so we're good.
It's cool that you told me that the book is, and I'm quoting you, compelling. I thought it's one of the best compliments I've had.
It's the truth. So this book, Bark More, Wag Less, with the author J.T. Ingram. You don't have to agree with it, but conversations like this challenge how we think about success, responsibility, and fairness. And as always, stay tasty, Tucson.
Woo-hoo.